the 12.6 wipe will be there first, and it can seem quite daunting, losing all your hard-earned gear levels and money, but this is actually a blessing in disguise. Everyone starts on a level playing field, and early game PvP is usually more fun. It's more about who's more competent in a firefight and less about who's got the meta weaponry. So don't be scared, let this video help you on getting through this wipe with a few tips that I've learned over the 3 years of me playing Escape from Tarkov. First, you have to get a few things sorted before you even think about going into a raid. Look at all your trader screens and go into the task tab on the top left of your screen. You will notice that Therapist and Proper will have tasks available straight away for you to complete. You want to accept these tasks straight away as it will be the first thing I recommend focusing on. It's no secret that quests are the quickest way to level up and gain XP, and that not only can you level up your PMC through doing quests, but you'll also gain loyalty for that specific trader, which will allow you to level up your trader and gain those higher levels, giving you more gear to purchase. This is now more vital than previous major patches, as the Flea Market is now find in raid only. You can't upload anything you want to make a quick buck, and you can no longer just buy anything that you need at the drop of a hat for a small upmarketed price. You need to buy from traders, like the good old days of Tarkov. Once you've accepted these quests, now you're going to have to prepare mentally and physically for your first raids. What I usually do first is go over your starting stash. You're given a bunch of gear to start off with, and anything that you don't use is just wasted pixels sitting there looking pretty. Sometimes it's better to sell the items you're less likely to use to make early money, rather than forcing yourself to use it, or leaving it sitting there doing nothing. And early game money is pretty vital. You don't have a lot to start off with, so any bit of extra cash early on, you'll be able to use this cash as sort of a comfort blanket when you do get a bit of extra money, just in case you die a lot and you need a bit of money to fall back on. I could talk about gear fear for ages, and that's why I've made a video on the channel already beforehand talking about gear fear absolutely years ago, but what I will say is gear fear is a state of mind, and believe me when I say that you'll have a huge weight lifted when you start chipping away at that gear fear. This one's quite short and sweet, and that is to go into a raid with a purpose. Have a goal in mind when you're getting prepared for a raid and make sure it's achievable. It gives you the motivation to go into the raid knowing you're coming out with something if you do achieve your goal. Early on in the wipe, this is quite easy. For example, when I go into raid, I have the mindset of, I want to go into raid in order to make this amount of profit and hopefully find this specific item that is needed for a quest or a hideout upgrade, which I'll come on to more in a bit. Good old map knowledge, it's come up on all of my previous beginner guides, and it is just so important. You need to learn your maps, especially customs, early on. The starting quest for Escape from Tarkov will require you to visit the customs location, and I recommend you learn this map until you're sick of it, because it's a great map to start off with. Combat is varied on this map. You encounter close quarters combat and combat from afar. Not only this, but it is one of the easier locations to navigate and learn your way around. There are plenty of places to loot around the map in the form of hidden caches and the dorms located in the central part of the map, where you can find various items like your medical slavers for the first therapist quest, and just general bits and bobs that will help you along your way, as well as scavs to kill to improve your PvP, your targeting, and give you a good few items to sell to make yourself a bit of extra money. Don't worry too much about limiting yourself just to customs to start off with, as you'll have to visit every map due to the quests over your Tarkov playthrough, but I do really recommend making the most of your time in those maps and focusing on learning them. Now, to learn the maps, I recommend using the offline raid function. You'll get to learn where the extracts are, places to loot, while not having to worry about losing your gear to dying to a scav or a player. You can also turn on AI, which allows you to focus on PvP with, again, no risk of losing anything. But you can also skirt the edge of the map until you find some extracts, and keep doing that repeatedly until you know every detail about it. Learning maps take time, a lot of time. But finding map guides on YouTube and loot runs for that specific map will allow you to see popular routes that people take, allowing you to familiarise yourself with what loot spawns there, as well as the landmarks around them, so you can find these locations in raids of your own. There are also map websites of Escape from Tarkov that will show you a top-down view of each map, and I have linked my personal favourite in the video description. It's perfect for finding not only loot but extracts and spawns as well. And I'll say this again because it is very important, do not take for granted the ability to run an offline raid. Offline raids with scav enabled not only gives you the ability to find scav pathing routes, but as well you can find extracts and everything else that you'll see in a live raid. You're going to get some first-hand experience without running the risk of losing your gear, but you can also work on your aim and study how the NPC functions, giving you different ways to engage them without having to lose a bunch of shit. You'll do it in a safe manner. You don't get access to this directly at level 1, but once you do, use the Flea Market to help with quests. Some quests will require you to hand over certain items to traders in order to complete them. A good early game example of this is Therapist's first quest, Shortage, which requires you to find 5 Salewers and hand them over to her. Now this quest doesn't say find in raid those 5 Salewers, so this quest, including many others, are actually easier to complete than people think. It just requires access to the Flea Market, which you get access to after level 10, which if you play your first raids right, it won't take you too long at all. Once you hit level 10, you'll be able to purchase these items that aren't specifically found in raid, albeit the only downside is you'll probably get an upmarketed price, especially due to the 12.6 changes to the Flea Market, which only allows people to put up items that were found in raid. Taking this into consideration, at times you may choose to find certain items in raid, especially when you could just Google search the item spawn location. It will be more than likely to come up in a Reddit post, YouTube tutorial, or even the Tarkov wiki, and it will allow you to save some money. But if you don't feel like getting stuck on certain quests because you're struggling to find items, then the Flea Market is definitely there to get you out of that hole if you need to. Now, whether you're new to this game or a seasoned veteran, learning from your mistakes is very important. We've all been in the situation where you get one-tapped out of what seems like nowhere, and we all get a bit sad about it. Well, if you're using a Nvidia GPU, then I 100% recommend Nvidia Shadowplay to record your raids, and if you don't use Nvidia, then you can use another screen recording program like OBS. This will allow you to not only record and save the high points in your Tarkov career, but also the bad I got shot out of nowhere moments. When this happens, you want to go back and analyse what happened before you died. Were you making too much noise? Did you check your corners well enough? Or maybe, and this has happened to me a couple of times, you'll actually see where you're getting shot from when you're watching it back. Trust me, sometimes playing Tarkov gives you a little bit of tunnel vision, meaning you're not able to see every inch of what's around you, and you probably will miss something. Watching streams and YouTube content of other people playing this game is also going to help in a similar sort of way. You can see different playstyles and different ways that people approach certain areas of the map, which will give you a good overview of where's dangerous and where's less dangerous. Of course, Tarkov is dangerous as a whole everywhere you can get shot and killed from, but there are certain hotspots on certain maps where you should be more careful than others. On the flip side though, it's not wise to completely copy how another person plays from a stream or a YouTube video. You need to adopt your own playstyle rather than just copying other people's. This is due to the fact that certain playstyles do not suit everyone. You're more likely to feel comfortable by developing your own playstyle or combining multiple playstyles from others to make your own. There are certainly a lot of buttons to press in Tarkov, so many in fact that there are a bunch of keyboard combinations that you should learn to improve your quality of life, and it will definitely help your looting speed, so I'm going to list a couple that I recommend remembering throughout your raids. Control clicking on an item will move it directly from whatever you are looting onto your backpack, pockets or rig. Alt clicking on an item will move it directly from what you are looting onto your person, i.e. an empty weapon slot, an empty rig or an empty backpack slot. Pressing delete while hovering over an item will instantly discard it from your inventory and throw it to the floor. Pressing the middle mouse button actually does two things. If you're hovering over an unexamined item, it will quickly examine it for you without you having to right click on it and then click examine. But if you've got a weapon with a foldable stock, then this also folds and unfolds the stocks to once again save you having to right click on the weapon and then click fold. While in your stash, you can right click on a weapon and then click disassemble, breaking the weapon down so you can sell the parts to the respective traders to actually make yourself a bit more of a profit. Hovering over a medical item or a grenade that is in your rig or your pockets and pressing the number 4 all the way up to 0 will bind that item to that key, allowing you to quickly heal or equip grenades without throwing them. And then when you have your grenade equipped in your hand, you can either right click to do a precise underarm throw or left click to do a further distanced overarm throw. There are plenty more hotkeys to remember, and I recommend binding some of these to your mouse if your mouse contains programmable buttons, as it avoids your hands wandering all the way across your keyboard, potentially stopping you moving or aiming briefly. Another tip that I'm going to give you is fiddle with your settings. Getting your settings right in this game is rather important. The game sure isn't easy to run, and therefore setting the game's quality to max even if you have a great PC isn't always the best. Luckily for you though, I have 2 videos on my channel to help you out. The first is my personal settings that I use to run Tarkov, and the second is going to dive deep into resolving any FPS issues that you have. Both of these videos are on a card annotation and linked in the description for easy viewing. Another quick one is to look for keys early on. There are many keys that you would want to keep an eye out for. Some are required for quests and others allow you to unlock great loot locations on various maps in Tarkov. Keys can be extremely rare and difficult to find, and that's why I also recommend looking at videos online for the best keys for each maps, and also on the Escape from Tarkov wiki in order to find where they spawn and to give you an insight of the room that they unlock and what loot spawns within it. As well as keys to look out for, there are items that I recommend when you find them, you keep them. There are a bunch of quests, as mentioned earlier, that require you to hand over certain items, and some of these items could be a right pain in the ass to obtain. That's where this picture and this website link from the Escape from Tarkov wiki comes in handy. It shows all the items needed for quests, both specifically found in raid and not. Combine this with the rest of the information on the Escape from Tarkov wiki page, which will show you the timeline of the Tarkov quests and the specific traders that issue them. Then you'll be able to see when you need to use certain items for quests and how long they'll be sitting in your inventory for. This Escape from Tarkov wiki page, along with every other outsourced information that I show on this video, will be linked in the description for you to easily access. Your hideout is going to become a vital asset when playing Tarkov. Leveling up stations within it gives you a ton of post-raid benefits like off-raid healing, energy and hydration rates. It will also give you access to a Bitcoin farm later on down the line, as well as crafting different ammos and barter items. All the items that are crafted in the hideout are classed as found in raid, meaning that they all can be sold on the flea market to make a quick bit of cash. These items crafted can also help towards those tedious find in raid quests, like Jaeger's find free flash drives in raid. Rather than scouring the map for hours looking for just one flash drive, let alone 3, you can upgrade just a few things and get the ability to craft them yourself. All this being said, upgrading your hideout will require time, money and items. The items required will be vast, so I'll have a link to another Escape from Tarkov wiki page in the description. Here you can see another image similar to the ones that you need for quests, but all of the items needed to fully max out your hideout. And here below it you will also see a list of different upgrades that you can do to your hideout and what is required to upgrade them and how long the upgrades will take, because some upgrades can take upwards of 24 hours in real time to do. A lot of the items seen on this image are actually really easy to find, so you will probably see them looting duffel bags or filing cabinets in raid, so make sure you pick them up and take them home, because even if you don't need them yourself, other people will, and if you take them out of raid you'll get the find in raid tag on that item, which you can sell on the flea market to make quite a bit of money. Although scav raids do not contribute to leveling your PMCs, scav raids are super important. They are a quick way to get a large amount of profit for doing pretty much no work. First, scavs deploy with a completely random loadout, which could be a pretty juicy loadout in of itself. Scav AI do not attack you on sight unless you of course have attacked another one of them in the nearby vicinity. This doesn't count to any scav boss though, they don't care if you're a scav or PMC'd, you're getting bummed either way. You could extract straight away with the stuff your scav spawns in with, put it in your PMC stash, and then you could use the scav's loadout in a PMC raid or sell it to traders and make some good money. But you could also go on a bit of an adventure, finding any remaining PMCs, kill scavs, or even hunt for those hard to find items for the hideout, or those that fetch a large profit on the flea market, because of course if you extract successfully, every item that is found is classed as found in raid as well, even on a scav run. Scav raids reset every 14 to 17 minutes depending on your level of the intelligence center in your hideout. It's a great way to take part in those live raids without the risk of losing hard earned gear or money, but remember, you don't want to do just scav raids because you need to level your PMC also, and the scavs do not level your PMC. The final main tip that I'm going to give you is run with a budget in mind. Don't go out with the most expensive items you can. There are plenty of budget weapons that you can find. I've made tons of videos on budget weaponry in the past, as well as tons of other people have as well, but there are a few good weapons to choose directly from level 1 traders. My personal go-to for early wipe has been and will always continue to be the Cherrywood style SKS from Prapor Loyalty level 1, because it's rather inexpensive and it's chambered in 7.62 39 ammunition, meaning you can load an internal 10 round magazine of this weapon in PS ammunition, also from level 1 Prapor, and this will deal some massive damage towards your enemies whether they're armoured or not. Another great alternative if you want a much higher fire rate is the PP91 Kedda, a 9x18 submachine gun which is a great weapon for taking out targets that aren't wearing heavy armour due to its RPM of 900. You'll be putting some serious lead down range with this weapon, especially because it comes with a 30 round magazine loaded into it. You won't be able to buy these 30 round magazines though from level 1 traders, so you'll have to stick with the 20 round Kedda mags, which is fine. You can still kill a few unarmoured targets without having any issues, but expect to be reloading quite quickly. The weapon and the magazines are found from Prapor Loyalty level 1, but you can also find a good ammunition for this weapon also at level 1 Prapor. PM PPT GZH will give you a high flash damage statistic out of all 9x18 ammunition available at level 1 Prapor. If you want a NATO alternative weapon which fires a slightly more powerful round, then head to Peacekeeper, and at Loyalty level 1 you will find the MP5K-N, a compact submachine gun which fires 9mm ammunition. With the same fire rate and a slightly higher base recoil, this is a great alternative weapon with 30 round magazines directly available from Peacekeeper at the same loyalty level. Any weapon at level 1 is going to have the potential to kill targets. The main thing at the start of a wipe is don't spend all your money, because everyone is going to be on an equal footing, meaning you will have a close to equal chance of surviving that raid as everyone else. There's no point spending all your money on a couple of weapons if you just lose it instantly. Budget yourself well, and when you see yourself surviving raids and leveling your PMC, you can then look to increasing the amount you take into raid. Usually what I do is take a Kedda or an SKS into a few raids, and then from there on I will use the items that I've picked up either off of other PMCs or scavs to run in the future raids, as it'll allow me to keep my money safe in my stash where I can still have an effective weapon to use at the start of a wipe. Armour and gear at level 1 is not as diverse as weapons are. At Ragman Loyalty level 1 you are able to pick yourself up a pack of soft armour as well as an SSH-68 helmet, which will give you some protection against low caliber rounds, but you'll have no protection around the face. With the helmet only the top of the head and the nape is protected, so any projectile that decides to venture to your eyes or below, you're still going to die in one hit. The armour is good at the start of the wipe, but not necessarily if you don't have the money. I would only use armour if you were able to justify it with the amount of money sitting in your stash. Sure, if you've been fruitful in a past life and have a few bucks to your name, you can definitely use it to save your life. So in conclusion, I've covered a lot and there is really a lot that I could still cover, but this is pretty much as detailed as I felt like I wanted to get in this video without boggling too many minds out there. If you do have any other questions, however, my job is to make your life a lot easier in the world of Tarkov, so message me in the comment section below and I will keep an eye out on all the comments and reply to as many as I can. You can also click the link in the description to join my Discord, where we have a full-fledged conversation with myself or other Tarkov veterans quite frequently. And you may even find a new group to play with. Hey, you could be playing with myself as well. I do plan to play more and more actively in my Discord as much as I can. So that is it guys, thank you so much for watching. Any questions, let me know, I'll be happy to help, but other than that, hit that like button if you did enjoy this video and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest Tarkov content. According to analytics, 85% of you guys are not subscribed, so I would really appreciate it if you do watch these videos and enjoy it. Hitting that subscribe button, it really does help the channel out. But anyway, I love you all. I'll look forward to making 12.6 content for you very, very soon. I'd like to thank you all for staying to the end of this video, but before I end it, I want to tell you something about Shadow. Shadow is a company I'm working with to promote max gaming PC settings anywhere you are. Shadow is a cloud-based subscription service, and currently in Europe they're offering the ability to pre-order one of their free new tiers of membership, starting at only £12.99. Or if you live in the US, then Shadow continues to offer their regular subscription service for $30 a month. You can play any games, max settings, anywhere you are. If you have a broken down PC, a shitty laptop or even a Mac, you can still play games like Tarkov in max settings 1440p 60fps. And this is actually how I record all my gameplay and stream Tarkov at this point in time. So if you liked how the video looked in this video, then check out the link in the description and it will take you to Shadow's website. You could do more research there, and if you do decide to sign up using the code Samosh, then you will get a discount on your first month. Thank you everyone for watching, toodle pip cheerio, and enjoy your evening lads.